because now you're battling yourself mentally where you're thinking and saying one thing, but actually wanting something else. Guys, happiness is when those things align. So you just need to be honest with yourself, and that's hard sometimes.
I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. The memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. We put the bars in the place. I'm talking one.
What's going on, BE3? We are doing a little banter rant back and forth, Puma and I. So I just decided to hit the record button and give you a little glimpse into what happens as we try to figure out what we can do to make your lives better. Here's what we're talking about. What is the issue? If you look at a macro perspective on what's going on right now in this industry, in this economy, and most of your markets that you're sitting in right now, we have a generationally low interest rate and generationally, historically low inventory. And it's only going to get better or worse depending on your perspective. And still, people aren't crushing it at the level that they should be. You want to talk about what keeps you up at night? And it's not the money. It's cracking the code that helps people get to really what they want and help them figure out what it is. So our driving thing, our company, it's empower, educate, encourage, right? And that's our mantra. And you help enough people get what they want, you never have to worry about anything in your own life because you'll get whatever you want. But the key is you get whatever you want. So what Puma and I are talking back and forth about is what is the issue? Like what does it take to get you to another level? And the problem is most people, they don't want the other level. They don't need the other level badly enough to do anything different.
They think they do, right?
Because
it sounds so
good.
mental. Yeah, it sounds good, right? It sounds good to make a few $100,000 a year. It sounds good to sell 20 homes a month. It sounds good to go on that crazy vacation. It sounds good, fly first class to Hawaii and rent a Ferrari while you're there and drive around the island. That sounds good. But then everything else kicks in. And more importantly, you don't want it bad enough where you're going to make the sacrifice and the commitment needed to actually get it. Right.
Because the leverage, right? It's leverage. That's
because here's, as human beings, I feel like we always weigh the pros and cons, and depending on the decision, we're sometimes doing that more deliberately than others. But even when it's not deliberate, it's happening subconsciously where we're sitting there going, okay, I'd like to go to Hawaii, but if we don't, and we just take a trip over to Disney, it'll be the same. And we sell ourselves on that. And so therefore, because we have this backup plan, there's not really a drive to actually go work towards that Hawaii trip. And you're going to go to Disney.
Right.
Like you just,
which is
like
fine.
that, which is great. Right. But the problem is we lie to ourselves because how many people are sitting there going, no, I really want to go to Hawaii. No, you don't. Right. And this is hard.
You want to go.
You want to go, but you're not committed to going. And you don't want to go bad enough to the point where you are committing. And that's the hardest part. And it's a tough conversation to have because once you realize that all the excuses are out the window, I mean, so we built this tool. We haven't even really rolled it out yet to the agents, but basically it calculates, right? It says, hey, what do you want to accomplish at the end of the quarter? How much cash is that going to be? What is your normal lifestyle cost? And then it builds all that in to say, okay, at the end of the quarter, you need $45,000 in cash to be able to pay all your bills and have the cash to go do whatever you wanted to do. And it calculates and breaks that down for you to say, this is how many appointments and people and everything you need to talk to accomplish and hit that $45,000 of cash. And the scary part is, we were having this conversation before we were recording. The scary part is that when you actually look at that and you look at the average commission check, and you look at the conversion rate of the appointment, for most people, it's going to be less than an appointment a week is what they need to hit their goal. Not even close an appointment a week. Just go on an appointment. Qualified appointment a week. Less than one. And that's scary because now all of your excuses go out the window of like, that's not impossible. That's not hard. And so now when the excuse is gone, you realize it's just on you. Like it's just you not really wanting to go do it. And that's a hard conversation to have with yourself.
Here's the issue. here's the biggest issue, and pay attention because this might hurt, and I apologize in advance for it. Everything is emotions. Everything you do or don't do is an emotional sale that you made to yourself. You justified it with logic. Right now, the logic's act simple. One appointment a week gives you more money than you know what to do with, right? Really does. In that, most of you. Some it's 2 or 3. Most people it's 1. 1 a week. So the logic is there. The scripts are there. The people to talk to are there. The market is there. The interest rates are there. Supply and demand curve is there. Your broker support is there. Your training classes at your board are there. There's a YouTube channel to teach you whatever the hell you could possibly want to sharpen up on. And there's just still something missing. So let me give you an interesting example. I was talking to a group of our salespeople a couple days ago, and I called out one specific guy, and I'm going to tell you about the story. About 3 weeks ago, I was talking with him, and he had called me, and he was actually out with his kid, and he was fishing with his kid, which I thought was fantastic. I love fishing with my kids. And we started talking about he was stuck and what should she do and, what's his next step in his business. So we shredded all the different lanes down and we picked one. And it was Remine for out-of-state absentee owners that live on the barrier island near where he lives. And he was going to go make that list and go talk to everybody. And it's simple, right? And it's easy and it works, right? We have a million different examples that it works. And all he had to do was go in and pull this stuff off. And this was 3 weeks ago. And I actually apologized to him because I hadn't followed up with him in 3 weeks and he hadn't come back to me to report back in 3 weeks. So he just kind of sat out there. So I got a chance to pull him back into the loop earlier this week. And I said, how's that going? The drunk monkey kicked in. He said, the problems are that, it's hard to find the phone numbers and to get the people and, you have to do not call and then to try to track them down on Google. And it was tough. By the time I found it, there was like maybe 50 people to talk to. I said, awesome. Of the 50 people, how many conversations did you have? None, because I couldn't get to them. Inside, it kind of pissed me off, okay? Not for me, but for him. And not really for him, but for the people that depend on him, right? So what I said, I must be missing something here. I thought you have kids, right? And if you have kids, I don't know. I think I have 2 kids. You've got kids. It's our inherent job, and I believe, is to give them the best possible chance to follow their passions and dreams in life, right? It's not a money thing, but it's giving them the best opportunity to do what they want to do to have a great epic life, right? Or at least that's what my belief is. I want to provide for my kids. Okay. And I said, I know your current situation because I coach with you. You don't have a whole bunch of money. You're doing another job that you don't like to do. You're spread thin with your time that you can't spend with your kids. So, it must be okay. That must be okay. I mean, when you first came to work here, you were bitching about the time that you had at your other job, the commute to and from, and the lack of time with your kids and the lack of money. And we talked about how you can go get that. But it's been 3 weeks and you didn't talk to one person, right? Which means that it must be okay, because I know the situation. It must be okay that you don't have enough cash saved to put your kid in the finest school that you could possibly find for your kid. It must be okay to not have the safest car that you could possibly transport your kids in. It must be okay to have a living scenario that is not the best, most conducive for your kids. It must be okay to not have experiences coming around. And I'm not talking about money, guys. I'm talking about experiences, which is time. It must be okay to not be able to take off a Thursday to go to the zoo. It must be tolerable. It must be okay. Right? Because if it wasn't okay, you would do something about it, but you didn't. So our job is to figure out how do you uncrack this code to get so uncomfortable, right? That you have to make something different, something change, or you have to agree that you're okay with the way things are and stop bullshitting people, including yourself, that you want things to be different. And we love you for that. If you're like, I get it, it is what it is, my money level is here, my housing level is here, my car level is here, my experience level is here, and I know it could be better, but frankly, I'd rather smoke weed and eat Cheetos and watch Netflix rather than make phone calls. Good. Enjoy your life and stop bitching about it and stop saying you want it to be any different and enjoy it. Put a big ass smile on your face and keep doing it. I'm thrilled for you if that's what you want, but don't bullshit yourself and say you want something different. Stop it.
It's the lying to yourself, because ultimately that will lead to unhappiness. That will lead to depression. That will lead to really bad things. If you're constantly lying to yourself, because now you're battling yourself mentally, where you're thinking and saying one thing but actually wanting something else. Guys, happiness is when those things align. So you just need to be honest with yourself, and that's hard sometimes, but that's the reality. And I don't know what it is. I know you're this way. I personally, I'm addicted to the game itself. So like, I love the competitiveness of it, right? I love the hunt of a deal, or the hunt of even recruiting, right? I view it the same way. Like, I love the fact when a recruit is with somebody else, and my job is to try and convince them why we're better. Whether they say no or yes is irrelevant, actually, because I get high on the attempt, right? I get high on the try. And if they say no, not now, I'm like, great. That means we're getting somewhere, right? I'll be back. We're going to have further conversations. And eventually, I do believe mentally that I'm going to get them. They're going to come over. It may take longer than I wanted, but I love it. So that the example I use all the time is, if you were climbing a mountain, but you're climbing that mountain just to get to the top, when you get to the top, you're done, right? But if you're climbing the mountain because you love to climb, then you're going to keep climbing. You're going to get to the top. And then literally, instantly, it's going to be, well, I love climbing, so when can I climb again? What other mountain can I go climb, right? And so that's the difference. And I don't know how to tell people to get to that point, or to get to that phase in their world.
Here's the issue. Here's the issue. Now, if listening to your story, and I know you, and I know the way you think and the way you operate, and let's dissect it for a second. Because guys, pay attention to this for a second. This is very, very important. Mike is happy where he is right now. This is important. He's happy and he's hungry. Right? You can't be unhappy and hungry, because that creates a disconnect, and that creates a problem. He's very happy. I've been trying to get him to move for a long time. He's happy with his house for now until I win. But he's very important. You have to be happy with where you are and still hungry for some type of an improvement. It could be health. It could be family time. It could be household. It could be experiences. It could be paying off debt. Could be, I don't care what it is, right? But you're hungry for more, whatever that is, but really hungry. Like, you need it, right, to satisfy yourself. Like, that's the difference. Now, I know he's got big goals for his family and for his kids, and to do things with his wife and different things, and what he's going to buy eventually. But he's happy today, but he's still hungry for the next one. And we know from a business perspective how many people we need to get on board in the next quarter, right? We know how many people we need to talk to this week. We know. And it doesn't matter whether the deals go or don't go, but the process is the climb. He knows he's going to talk to 4 or 5 different agents this week. He's going to have presentations. Some are going to go well, some are not. Some we're going to want to be with, some we're not. Some are going to want to be with us, some are not. But it's okay, because we're happy. And it is what it is, but we're hungry, and we know, and we trust the system, that, guys, it's a numbers game, man. It's sales. Sales is a numbers game. You talk to enough people, you make enough money. That's it. If you're not making enough money, you're just not talking to enough people. And the reason why you're not talking to enough people is because you don't have a reason to go make enough money. So let's rewind that for a second, because all you have to do is figure out, do I need more money? And if you don't, stop lying to yourself and just be okay with where you are, or get passionate about giving to a charity or a cause or somebody who needs it. Right?
Create the need. Create the reason, right?
Create the hunger.
For anyone who watched the Last Dance, the Jordan documentary, that was like my biggest takeaway, right? Now, he did it on a whole new level. I mean, Jordan, literally, if you watch that documentary, you will realize what a freak of just nature that man is and was. But the biggest takeaway I had, there was one championship game and he destroys this guy. I mean, literally, like, publicly destroys this guy on the court, off the court. At the end, they were like, Jordan, why were you so upset? You said in your interview that he said these things about you. And he goes, actually, I made that up. And they're like, what? And he's like, yeah, sometimes I have to tell myself. He literally would pretend. Like, if he was playing against you, he would pretend that you said that he wasn't as good as you, that he would literally make shit up in his head that you said about him, so that he could get angry and competitive enough to go rip your face off on the court when you never actually even said it, right? But like he would make it up to go drive himself, but he knew that that's what he needed to go to that next gear, to put it in drive. Because when you're that successful, when you've won at that point 5 world championships, when you took a team from nothing, when you're being called the best player in the world, you need something that's going to cause you to keep coming back and doing it again. Right? And he literally got to a point where
he had to make it up.
Because there was so much respect. No one would ever say anything. No one would ever say, dude, he's not good. I can beat Jordan. No one would say that. So he literally had to tell himself that they were saying that and completely make it up. Use that same theory in your business. You don't have something, make it up. If it helps you, this helps me sometimes. That's a weird place to go to mentally, but I literally wake up some days and I'm like, you know what? I have no money in the bank. None. If I don't go make money today, we're going to starve. It's not true, but I literally will believe that the whole day. Like I'll just put and it helps sometimes. If I'm struggling to get through, it'll force me to go do it. So make shit up. I don't know. Make up a why. Give yourself a reason, but you got to find some way to trigger it mentally or it's not going to happen.
You got to do it. And reach out, guys, if you need help. From the quarantine, stuck at the house, I got little kids, so I'm being super cautious about the world, right? Spending a ton of time in my house. I don't have a pool. I need a pool. I don't need a pool. I'm totally fine without a pool, but I need a pool. But there's various degrees of pools. So I had a pool designed, and it was a pretty cool pool, but it was just a pretty cool pool. And I'm like, all right, you better listen to your own stuff there, Mr. Beggins. What's the perfect pool? Like the unbelievably badass, ridiculous, over the top, huge ass smile on your face pool. So I started going on the Lucas Lagoons and all these type of different shows and looking at things at night when I'm with my daughter sleeping on me or whatever it would be. And I'm dreaming and I'm visualizing, I'm picturing it, and I've sketched it and I've drawn it and I've got screenshots and pictures of elements that I like from other things. And now I've got a guy designing that. Is it going to cost me more money? Yep. Who cares? I know how to make money. Right? All I got to do is go talk to people. Right.
And that will fuel it. Right.
That's
because
before,
before maybe you only needed to go do 10 deals. Now you're going to need to go do 15.
Right. And what's the difference? I'm here anyway.
Just a little bit more work.
Yeah.
Right.
Or a bigger deal.
It's going to get you committed to it.
But here's the thing. And this is the ultimate secret. I think we'll just end on this and keep this short for the day. Once I got ridiculously committed to what this is going to look like, I got different deals.
Mm-hmm.
People called. People said, hey, I got an idea. I got some money, got some ideas. I'm like, I got some great ideas. I got some great properties in mind. Let's go do a project here. Okay, I got the cash. Let's go do it. Now, that will spin off way more cash in the pool, but the vision for the pool was the catalyst to get stuff to go, because I got engaged to saying, okay, now I could pay for the pool, but I'm hungry starting at zero that I'm not going to touch any of my savings or investments to pay for the pool. I'm going to go make the money to pay for the pool. And that's what the difference is. So, but that's the hunger, that's the drive, that's the issue. So what is the issue? What is the hunger? What is the passion, guys? If you don't have it, nothing's going to help you. We are sitting in the best time ever in the history of real estate industry. Rates are almost in the 2s, guys. In many places they are. They're going to keep going down because we have an economic situation right now. You've got a lot of people that lost their job. You have businesses that are going to fail. And you've got probably 15% of the population that has a problem. But you could focus on that if you want to and just get nothing. Or you could realize that 85% of the world is still okay and has generational opportunities to create massive wealth. So what you need to do is figure out a reason to push yourself to stay hungry and be very happy with where you are. Happy and hungry, guys. Happy, hungry, happy, hungry. And if you get that together, then you're just going to watch and get committed and get visual and get the pictures and get committed. Get your wife involved, get your husband involved, get your mom, your dad, your sisters, your brothers, your cat, or whatever it is, and say, I'm going to do this. And everyone says, yes, let's go do it. Say, okay. And then guess what? It happens. Okay. But until you get to the, yes, I'm going to do this stage, nothing ever happens. That I can promise you. So
yeah, there's a huge difference between being interested in something and being committed to something. Because if you're interested, you're going to try and take the path of least resistance. And the second that it doesn't go the way that you want, you're going to stop. If you're committed to it, there is no stopping because you're committed to hitting it. So when you hit a bump, no problem. Going to pivot. I'm going to figure out a way. And so to your point, Once you get committed, then it starts activating everything mentally. And all of a sudden, everything that you're doing and seeing, you start recognizing opportunities to help advance towards what you're trying to do. It's a crazy thing, guys. And the second that you get committed to it, you're going to start to understand exactly what we mean.
So do it. Let us know what else we can do to help you. Also, keep in mind, we've got Next Level U on the 20th, 21st, and 22nd of July this month, 2020. It's free, guys. We're just putting out there. It's a virtual, unbelievable lineup of talent and resources and classes in 1 hour segments for 3 days. It's going to be awesome. So we'll throw the link down below, and we'd love to have you. I don't care where you work, guys. This is a rising tide raises all boats. You know that's our mission here. Hopefully this brought you a little bit of value. And if you need a little bit more of a push or need some help getting over to that inspiration level, just let us know, guys. So thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day. And as always, find some passion, guys. Let's go have some fun. Talk to you later. Bye. One shot.